called Crying Solo if you ever want to use it. It's good. Huh? Oh, I haven't decided on which synth I want to use yet. Because it's a remix, right? So it all comes in as MIDI, as the regular MIDIs. So I have to decide what I want to change and what instrument I want to use for that particular thing. And the Mortal Kombat one has to be a synth, but yeah, changing it up. Well, that's a lot of editing. Yeah. Like the ending of Mortal Kombat here, it doesn't really necessarily end, so we had to make up our own stuff as well and make it all fit. But yeah. Yeah, me and Brayden are working on this one. We did this like at the end of last year and we never bothered to come back to it.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So, are you working as a group together?
Usually what happens in the studios is everybody has a studio day up there, and depending on who's in the studio and who's not, the other people will usually join and give feedback on what the one person on the studio is doing. Also, if you're recording and you need somebody to like record your voice or something, or you playing an instrument, it's always better if somebody else is like doing the engineering part of the sound, right? Other than that, the other person's mostly sitting there giving feedback, but we do all work together and give ideas and throw ideas, what we should change, what we shouldn't, you know, that kind of thing. So we don't necessarily, it all depends. Like me and Brayden, the guy outside, we take turns working on this piece, just because we both came up with the idea and we kind of just share it. And that's what happens sometimes, but not all the time. So, most of the time we work on our own thing. So yeah.
Everybody puts all their ideas together and you make an amazing song.
That's how it's supposed to go. We're hoping to come up with a CD for school, hopefully soon. But yeah, it's coming together slowly. Very slowly.
So, pretend you're talking to someone who doesn't have any idea what's going on here, and so the audience doesn't necessarily know. So, do you want to talk about the software that you're, like the kinds of software you're using and what you've learned, and sort of, you talked a little bit about how you work together.
Yeah, okay, the main program we use is Cubase SX. The one out there on those computers is a lower version of this one. So this one's upgraded, and this is our module. And basically this allows us to get all our synthesized sounds. So if I go here and I have the guitar there, I can play the guitar. But then again, if I want to change it, and let's say, I don't know, the sounds change by this module. Now this module is stored with tons and tons of different fonts. Like it's hard to get through them all to see what instrument you want. So it can take like an hour just to go through most of them, not all of them. This is our Mackie mixer that we use. It has up to 16 channels that you can put different instruments on. And most of the time in the studios we're only using 15 and 16 and 13 and 14, which are MIDI and audio. Now the difference between MIDI and audio is a little complicated to say the least, depending on what you're working on, right? But once we get everything into MIDI, it's not going to sound as good as it would in audio, right? So what we would do is we would transfer these files into audio so that we could add things like reverb, which is like, let's say you're talking in a hall and you hear that kind of echo-ness, right? Or delay you can add where the voice kind of repeats itself and fades out, right? But yeah, and our speakers are just like regular old speakers. We don't really necessarily. It would be nice to get another studio, but we only work with two and we have to split up the teams on. So we really have to find who works well with who and the genres that people like working on, right? And yeah, that's pretty much what we have here. And this is also our MIDI keyboard. These are longer than the ones outside, just because, well, the studios are more advanced than the ones outside. And you can change it depending on... You can change it depending... You can change the pitches. And so that's there. And then I can higher it. It's the same exact note. It's just the octaves moving up. And if I want to record, there's also sounds on... There's also sounds on the computer here, where you can, we have our sound card, it's called Sound Blaster. And we can go to sound fonts, and we can also upload sounds instead of from using them here. We can use them just from the stuff on the computer that we upload. We can also import different things. So if I want to import an audio file, we just recently got a whole bunch of drum loops, and they're amazing drum loops. They help us get our songs started because we don't always have like ideas that just pop in and we just go at the keyboard, right? So sometimes it's kind of hard to get an idea. So we would play around with these, and they have different tempos and stuff that you can choose from. And there's also little tricks that you can do, like if you pick a drum set that is 120 tempo and you want the drum set to go faster, the tempo you can put with the program we use, Cubase, you can change and increase the speed of the drums. So there's a whole bunch of different things. We have a whole CD that's of tutorials for this, and there's a lot of information to go through. So yeah.
That's good. So are you composing your own stuff?
I compose. I've always composed my own stuff. I've never really liked to, make a cover song, which is like redoing somebody else's song. This is maybe my second cover song. I can show you.
Do you know what? It would be better to show something you composed yourself.
Yeah. I can show you, this song. This song, all the instrumentals were done by me. There's no lyrics on it yet. I'm trying to get it done. Brayden usually helps me with my lyrics because I'm not great at lyrics. So. Basically what happens when you make a song, you want to have some sort of form, right? So you could have like chorus, verse, chorus, chorus, and then verse again. What I've done here is pretty much exactly that, except the verses kind of change a bit each time. I didn't want them to be the same like they would normally be. So that's what I did here for this one. And this song is called Fallen Angel. It's basically about relationships, I guess you could say. Yeah. and I'm Tim.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah. And here we're gonna go back into the verse.
So, with your friend, he's Brayden, who
Brayden.
write the lyrics, how would you work with him to write lyrics?
He'd
Tell
come.
him what it was about, and then
The good thing is, Brayden has the other studio on Monday and Tuesday, and I have it on Wednesday and Thursday, and we're both in the advanced class, and so he'd come in when I'm working on my songs, and I'd go into his when he's working on his. So when I want to do lyrics, I get him to sit with me, and he kind of rambles on different words that could go to this song. It's kind of a weird way to start off, but once you get going with the actual song, you can come up with, he comes up with lyrics out of nowhere, which is amazing to me because I have so much troubles doing it, but, yeah, he usually comes up with some pretty good lyrics. Sometimes they don't always fit, and we have disagreements, but you work around it, and whatever happens, happens, right? Other than that, yeah, he basically rambles on about different things. So he goes, what do you want the song to be about? And I'll tell him. And if I don't know, I'll ask him for ideas, what it could be about, just by the feeling or the mood of the song. So that also helps as well. That's why it's also good to have form, because if you don't have form, the lyrics are kind of going to be like everywhere. And you really need to make sure you have like your bridges, your choruses, your verses, your introduction, and your end, right? And you'll see coming up soon how we ended this one off. And it all depends whether you want to do, sometimes, a lot of the time, we do rap, just because we don't have as many male singers here as we did in previous years. Most of ours are female, and we don't always want to put a female voice onto it. And sometimes the lyrics also have to, like, if it's lyrics about losing a girl, like this song would be, right? It's kind of hard to put a female's voice on it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a guy speaking his feelings, right? So everything's connected in a way. Everything that you do kind of matters and results into something else. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
thank you so much. Thanks for sharing all of that. It was great.
Is there anything else, you guys?